Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the College Town Podcast. My name's Derek DeBurger. With me is Sam Roth.
How we doing, guys?
Oh, man. Kentucky blew it against Georgia.
They had a chance.
They just blew it.
Did they?
Also, Florida State blew it on the season.
Yeah.
And then Quinn Ewers blew out something. So it's Arch Manning's time to shine.
It is.
And so we talk about that. We recap a lot of games this week because there was a lot notable.
Realignment happened, too, while we were gone.
Yep, we finally get back into realignment.
We are.
Everyone's favorite part about college sports. We talk about U.S. lawmakers getting involved in college. We talk about more speeding going on in Athens, Georgia.
And we talk about two contracts, one that just got signed and one that's maybe potentially about to get fired.
Yeah, you can guess who the latter is.
Uh-huh.
And then, of course, we do our pick'ems, like we do every single episode that there is a season. So we hope you stick around to watch through to the pick'ems, which are at the end of the episode. We hope you like the video if you like it, and then maybe subscribe too.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see you in the episode. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the College Town Podcast. Georgia. Oh, thank God Georgia pulled it through.
Oh, is that how you feel about that?
Yes. Are you kidding me? I was watching that. I had it to the side because I had to do homework, but I was watching it and I was like, oh my God, no. I turned it off for a second when they got that pick six. Kentucky did. And then I turned it back only to see that they reversed the call. And then that was a tight game.
It was a tight
It
game.
was a very, very tight game.
Yeah, unfortunately, I was not able to watch the game. I was at a wedding.
So let me tell you.
Fill me in.
Kentucky's defense did play very well.
As the score would say.
No, I have to give credit where credit is due. Kentucky's defense played very well.
Okay.
One of my biggest takeaways from that game is that, Georgia just doesn't have the same offense. And it's not just the Kentucky game. If it was just the Kentucky game in a vacuum, I'd be like, oh yeah, Georgia's offense is not. Or I'd be like, Georgia's offense, they had a bad game.
Yeah, one off.
But the thing is, the week prior, they scored 48 against an FCS team. That's not good.
It's not that great, no.
And so, I just think without Brock Bowers and Ladd McConkey, Brock Bowers, God,
He's really good with the Raiders right now.
yeah, I know, beat the Ravens yesterday.
He's tearing it up right
terrible.
now. Yeah.
Anyway, without those two weapons for Georgia, their offense is going to take a serious step back. And I expect, in all honesty, I expected it last year. I kind of expect them to end their regular season winning streak at some point this year. They might pass Oklahoma. Because I think their winning streak's at 42 right now.
Okay.
And it's 44 or 45. So
Is the record. So they definitely have a chance for it.
yeah.
But
Except their next game is at Alabama.
ooh, that is a rough one. So I do wonder, from your perspective watching this game, so obviously defensive battle back and forth. I heard a lot of people talking about this fourth down where Stoops decided not to go for it on like 4th and 7, 4th and 8.
Fourth and 8, yeah.
In like enemy territory and decided to punt it down. With
It was right at about midfield.
Apparently a lot of people online from reading comments and stuff were not happy with that decision.
Stoops made two mistakes in this game.
Really?
One of them, I think that I think that was a mistake. However, their defense played so well in that game up to that point that
You trust your defense?
yeah.
Okay.
So I really did. I didn't have that big an issue with that.
Okay.
In all honesty, when I was watching live, I didn't watch that and go like, why aren't they going for it? It's 4th and 8. Because it's 4th and 8. It's just barely better, more manageable than 4th and 10. So I didn't think that was the worst call in the world. I really didn't. The other mistake that Stoops made, which I do think is a legit mistake, they had the ball in the red zone right at the end of the first half with 9 seconds left. 1st and 10, and they just kick a field goal. They don't take a shot to the end zone or anything, which you're not even guaranteed to make it.
Right.
You got to try. Do
they have any timeouts or anything?
Because
I feel like that is part of the factor where, like, if you take a sack there, you get nothing.
Yeah, but the thing is, I don't think they had timeouts. But, I mean, if you just take a shot to the end zone, then you don't, that play's going to take like 7 seconds.
Right.
You just let it develop, you just throw it.
Right.
And then if it's caught, it's caught. If it's not, it's not.
Gotcha.
Like I said, you're not guaranteed to get anything, but like not going for it, you could have. They ended up getting 3. They ended up taking a 3-point lead into the half. They potentially could have got 7 there, and they would have had a 7-point lead into the half. That would have put more pressure on Georgia at the end of the game to have to score to win the game, not to just try and ice the game. So I don't know. That was biggest mistake. It's a very close game. It was kind of a slugfest, but it was one of those. I'm not going to say it was one of those slugfests where it was like, oh man, this is incredible defenses back to back to watch. Even though it was very good defenses, right. I think it was one of those games where it was like, yeah, this is a pretty good game.
Right, sputtering offenses. A lot of Kentucky fans. I mean, obviously this is just very, very knee-jerky reactions, but I wanted to get your opinion on it. People are calling for Stoops to get fired after that game. What's your thoughts? Is it because they had a chance to beat the number 1 team, or should it be the exact opposite? Is that they're that close to the number 1 team and that they should see where it goes?
I mean, I don't think you fire Stoops. I think there's an upgraded coach out there for Kentucky, but I think Stoops' contract is so big and he's recruited so well that you kind of just let him ride it out.
I gotcha.
For as long as he wants. Yeah. That's how I feel about it. No, you don't fire Stoops after that. Right. But, yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how these two teams play. Kentucky does have, I mean, in hindsight, it looks like Kentucky has the 4 toughest teams in the SEC on their schedule.
Oh, so they have Texas, Kentucky. No, they have
Georgia, Texas.
Georgia, Texas, Alabama,
Not
Ole Miss.
Alabama.
Ole Miss,
Tennessee. I think Tennessee's better than Alabama.
I agree with that. Honestly, I'm agreeing with that. Yeah.
Tennessee looks like world beaters right now.
Yeah.
I know they really haven't. Like, the best team they played is NC State, and it kind of looks like NC State sucks in hindsight.
True.
They struggled to beat Louisiana Tech this weekend.
Yeah.
Including struggling week 1 to beat Western Carolina. So NC State probably is terrible.
All right.
But still, Tennessee looks so good.
All right. What other games do you want to talk about?
Oh, we've got to talk about it. Memphis, Florida State.
0-3 start. So this is probably the team that we were talking about, AP top 10.
Oh, this is the team.
That is going to finish unranked. I think it could be them, and I also think Michigan. I'm still not done with Michigan yet.
I mean, yeah, we've been over that.
We'll get to that. But I think the biggest takeaway from this is that the drop-off from Jordan Travis to DJ, I'm not even going to try to say his last name.
Uyunglele.
Thank you. Is so massive that this offense can only muster up 12 points against Memphis. That's the big takeaway I take from it. Like, sure, Florida State's defense holding the 20 points against a Memphis team that has a chance to be in the playoff.
Yeah, and that 20 points, the second play of the game, Florida State's offense fumbled it in their own red zone.
Right.
So, like, 3 of those 20 points, Florida State gave to Memphis.
Right.
But they shut them down. So, in reality, that's only like 17 points that Memphis' offense generated.
Yeah.
So, their defense is still phenomenal.
Very good.
It's just their offense is so bad.
Very bad.
It's so bad to the point where it doesn't matter how good the defense is.
I felt this was evident in the all the way back to last year once they lost Jordan Travis, and when Louisville played them in the ACC championship game, they really struggled to move the ball there, as well as now this year. It's like, what is going on? Like, you go over to Ireland, you lose to Georgia Tech. Then they lose to the second game. I forget who they lost
Boston
to.
College.
They lose to Boston College.
Boston College at home, and Boston College won by 2 touchdowns.
Right. And then now you lose to Memphis. To be fair, start of the schedule, after looking at it in hindsight, I think those are three decent teams. Like I think Boston College and Memphis have very high hopes this year. Georgia Tech is a decent team too.
Georgia Tech has a very high ceiling and a very low floor.
Yeah.
I'm still not completely sold on Memphis, but no, this was not a cakewalk.
No, it was not.
I can't, because their everything I've said about Florida State all along I think has been true, because their defense is still really good.
Yes.
It's just their offense is so bad. This is the first team to ever start a season 13-0 to then start the next season 0-3.
Jeez.
This is the first top 10 team in the AP era to ever start the season top 10 preseason and then start the season 0-3. They're the only power conference team right now that is 0-3.
Jeez.
I mean, they are breaking so many records. It's so bad.
It is very bad.
And the thing is, I don't think that they're... Did you gasp?
Yeah, sorry. I was reading the scores. I got excited.
Okay. I was like, what's wrong?
Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry, I got ahead of myself.
No, I don't think that their offense... And hear me out when I say this. I don't think that their offense is this bad. I think what it is they lost week 1. They weren't expecting to lose week 1. And then when they lost week 2, that's it. That was their confidence. And when they fumbled on the second play from scrimmage, I was watching that game. My mouth was just wide open. I was like, oh my God. Their psyche is just gone.
Man.
It's just broken.
Because usually you treat these games, it is weird their schedule, because they played 2 ACC games and then this is their first out-of-conference game. In a weird way, usually you have those out-of-conference games to build up confidence to get into conference play.
That's what I think is the problem with the ACC in my mind, is that they do this. They schedule teams to play each other week 1 and 2, and it's like, why? I know that you want like
the coverage.
Yeah, you want the bigger matchups because a lot of teams are playing cupcakes, but like, let people play their out of conference schedules to like just be
informed.
Yeah, just build up the fluff. You know, let them get to 4-0, playing nobodies. Because even if they suck, they're at least going to be 4-0, and you know they've got to at least give them a passing mention on College Game Day.
Right. What are some other takeaways that you thought?
So the biggest thing that I thought, I was like, oh my God, is Mike Norvell going to get fired?
Yeah. Here's a question for you.
Yeah.
Is Mike Norvell going to be the first coach in the state of Florida to get fired this year?
No. No.
Okay.
Billy. Okay. We'll talk about this right now, just because we're talking about this. Florida on Sunday. Or Florida for Sunday, so it was probably on Saturday.
Right.
And we're talking about the past tense right now. Called a board of trustee meeting.
Ooh.
It's what you do when you're going to fire someone.
It's what you do.
Separate from that board of trustees meeting, a couple, like 2 or 3 big money donors for Florida, kind of just behind the scenes were like, hey, we'll cover the buyout for Billy Napier, which I wrote down. And that buyout is, and this is per USA Today. They were reporting this. His remaining contract is $51.8 million. A lot of dough. And the buyout, if he were to be fired, that triggers a payment of 85% of that contract, which is $44.03 million. So 3 guys are coming together and be like, hey, we'll pay this. Now, after the meeting on Sunday, nothing came of it. He's still the coach as of Monday, as of us recording this, Monday morning. But all that to say, no, Mike Norvell is not the first coach fired in Florida.
Well,
it is going to be Billy Napier.
Okay, well, they're definitely got the wheels turning on that one for a process in place.
Yeah, that's just a matter of when, not if.
Oh, okay.
I think.
Okay.
I mean, God, that's bad.
All right.
So, but back to Mike Norvell and his potential job security. I mean, he did go undefeated in the regular season and win the ACC championship.
Right.
If Jordan Travis didn't get hurt,
they had a shot.
they had a shot. They actually would not have made the playoffs, I don't think. I think the committee was trying to screw Florida State from the beginning.
Right.
And they just had an excuse with Jordan Travis.
Travis being out in the way they played.
Yeah. So, but they would have had a very good team had he stayed healthy.
Yes.
And then they go 0-3.
Yeah.
3 teams that are not bad, but 3 teams still. If you're Florida State coming off of a perfect regular season the year before, you should win this game.
I mean, putting it this way, if you were to tell me 2, maybe even 3 years ago, maybe less, that Florida State would lose to Georgia Tech, Boston College, and Memphis to start the season, 3 teams that, historically speaking, are not known for being dominant football programs.
Georgia Tech's actually got a couple of national championships.
I know that.
But that was a long time ago.
Right. I'm just saying, in recent bias memory.
Actually, Boston College, I think, has a national championship, too.
Yeah, they had, what's his name?
Doug Flutie?
Yep.
Yeah.
But besides the point is that if you were to tell me in the 2000s era.
Yeah.
For
BCS and onward.
Yes, basically. Georgia Tech and Boston College, and definitely Memphis, are not programs that stand out with pedigree as ones to Florida State.
No.
Now going into this year with Boston College having a new head coach who Bill O'Brien kind of forgot how good he was as a coach.
No, Bill O'Brien's a really good coach.
Yeah, I just remember his Texans times in the NFL, and it was just lackluster and not that good. Yeah. And Georgia Tech this year, they got a quarterback. So does Boston College as well.
Someone said that preseason.
They did.
I don't remember who, but someone did.
They both got very good quarterbacks this year. And then Memphis, I feel like right now there's like 3 front runners for that 12th spot in the playoff. Mm-hmm. And that's Memphis, Boise State, and probably UNLV. There's flirts of like Liberty, I want to say.
Yeah, Liberty and Texas State. But
but
Texas State took a big step back when they lost to a team they were expected to beat this past week in Arizona State. Great game, by the way.
Right. UNLV and Boise State are going to meet at some point in the Mountain West. And that's going to be a hell of a game, and I would love to watch it. Yeah. And then Memphis, see what they can do. I mean, so far so good. I personally cheering for Boise State. Love me some Ashton Genty. Come on now.
I don't know. Kind of like UNLV.
All right. Well, speaking of UNLV, they got a massive win this weekend.
They did.
They beat a unranked Kansas, but borderline ranked Kansas at that. A team, once again, historically speaking, not very good football program, but Lance Leipold has kind of found a way to turn that program around.
He's good.
But they lose to lack of better words,
back-to-back games now Kansas has.
Yeah. To Illinois and
UNLV. Both of I think are good teams.
Both are good teams. Yeah. Doesn't mean Kansas is bad, though.
No. They don't have the easiest schedule going forward. They have a lot of these toss-up games on there, so I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. But let's power through some of these matchups, these results.
Go for it.
Arizona State, that wasn't even competitive. Arizona Kansas State. Sorry.
Yep, that was the Friday night game.
Yeah, that was not competitive.
Boy, did I get that one wrong on our pick'ems.
Did you pick Arizona?
I sure did. I thought with the lot of returning players, even with Jed Fish gone, I thought they had a chance.
No, Arizona State has not looked that good.
Arizona.
To me, they have looked like a fringe top 25 team all year.
I gotcha. Another team that kind of plays with their food a little bit didn't play with Wisconsin at all.
Well, because I don't think Wisconsin's good this year.
No, man, what is up with Luke Fickell and struggling at Wisconsin?
It's year 2. Yeah. Give him time.
All right, fair enough.
Alabama, Wisconsin. Alabama won 42-10. It wasn't even close.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is probably the most consistent Alabama's looked in a game.
Yep.
I'm still not super impressed with either of these teams.
No, Alabama's definitely given that fringe playoff team right now. They're definitely they're giving off an 8-16 area of seeding.
Yeah. We'll see how it plays out. But LSU, South Carolina, again, these are 2 teams that I don't think are good.
Yeah, and you were right on it. It was a battle back and forth.
Yeah,
You think Sellers can't? I mean, once again, LSU is going through.
Well, when they needed to pass the ball, Sellers was out of the game.
Really?
Yeah, they put in. I don't even know his name, but they put in some backup quarterback.
Huh.
And
just missed a kick.
Yeah,
that's what it came down to.
It was a long kick, though, wasn't it?
It was a very long kick, but LSU still stays ranked against a South Carolina team that both of us think isn't that good.
Yep.
Even though they've found a way to beat Kentucky, and
By a lot.
and they barely lost to LSU. So,
But again, I don't think LSU is that good.
yeah.
All right, next up we have Boston College, Missouri. Very close game. A lot of people thought it wouldn't be. I don't know how, but no, this is a very close game. Boston College, I will say Missouri's defense looks really, really good.
Really?
14 of Boston College's 21 points they got it off of just busted plays.
Oh, just broken, wide open.
Yes. Like Boston College made the mistake, and then Missouri tried to react to get like a big play, and then Boston College got something wide open.
Oh.
That's what happened twice. I still think Boston College is good. It's just, and I still contend what I say, that Missouri's offense has a lot of question marks because Boston College's defense is not all that great. And so they only put up 27 against Boston College's defense. And it's not that good.
Mm-hmm.
But no, Missouri's defense is incredible. Oregon State. Oregon finally
blew out a team.
Looked like the team that we thought they would be. I was very wrong picking Oregon State.
Hey, rivalry game might have happened. You never know.
Yeah, it was at Corvallis.
Right. But Oregon decided to show up and not play with their food.
Yeah.
Because they played close to Boise State, who's a good school. But then they barely beat, not barely, they won by 2 touchdowns to Idaho.
Well, they won by 10 points.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, 14-24.
Good Idaho, but, an FCS Idaho.
Yeah, and it's just like, what's going on? Maybe Oregon's starting to hum it along, get it figured out for Big Ten play now.
Yeah. All right. And then Tulane, Oklahoma, that was,
It was a game.
It was close until Oklahoma scored right at the end to make it look less close than it was, but that was a close game.
I feel like Tulane, though, is a good team. They played close to Kansas State, and they didn't really play as close to Oklahoma, but I still feel like when they go into conference play, they're going to be...
They played pretty close to Oklahoma.
They're going to be a hard team to beat. They're in the American?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
So I'm kind of high on Tulane for the American.
Yeah, next up, Notre Dame destroyed Purdue. I'm not shocked by that. Marcus Freeman, he waits until his pants are on fire to do anything.
Well, the offense started to hum a little bit.
Here's one that you're going to like. West Virginia Pitt.
That's when I gasped.
Down 10 points.
That is a pick 'em I got right, baby.
They were down 10 points in the fourth quarter. And West Virginia just blew it.
I love to hear that.
West Virginia's now 1-2 with their only win, I think, coming against an FCS.
That's right. You know what my prediction preseason? It's so right on right now. 1-2.
Suck.
Yeah, I had them winning I think I'm going 3-9. So at this rate right now, they're going to go 4-8. So I'm pretty close.
That could come to fruition.
I'm so here for it. I don't even know who their coach is, but he sucks too.
Yeah. South Alabama also. Oh my God. I know we're talking about South Alabama. This is their first win of the year.
It was a Thursday night game.
Was it on Thursday?
It was a weekday game.
They scored 87 points
against Northwestern State. Never heard of Northwestern State, but now I have.
But I couldn't tell you what they are.
But South Alabama put up 87-10. Both coaches at halftime agreed to do shortened clocks and running clock for the last 2 quarters.
I mean, yeah.
To put up with 87 points.
I think that has happened so many times this year. I think a ton of coaches just figured out it's a thing.
Well, the other thing that I learned is that there was another team that was blowing out a team at halftime. I forget which schools it was, but they went. The one coach asked the other coach, was like,
I think it was Tennessee.
It might have been, but they were up 35 at half or 42 at half or something.
I think it was Tennessee because they scored 37 in the first quarter against Kent State.
That's exactly what it was. Yep. And Kent State's coach, they asked him if they wanted to do running clock, and he said no. And it was just like, all right.
Okay, cool.
Fair play to you.
We're going to score 80 on you.
Yeah, I guess.
But, yeah, so next we got the big news. It's here, baby.
It is. What time is it?
It's Manning time.
That sure is.
That's right. Quinn Ewers during Texas's game against UTSA, he got hurt, a non-contact abdominal injury,
which is kind of scary.
It's definitely scary.
Whenever you hear non-contact injury, it's very, I mean,
non-contact is always scary because it's you think structural, which then you're like, ooh, because the recovery time is just so long on that, and the rehab is so intense, and it's the risk for re-injury is so high oftentimes.
But the good news to come out of it, walked off on his own power.
He did walk off on his own volition. He's not ruled out officially yet for next week.
No,
they said we'll get to that in a second. But he went down, which of course meant
the backup
Arch Manning had to come in, which
And how did Arch Manning perform against UTSA?
Oh my God, he was incredible.
Yes, he was. I saw the highlights.
5 total touchdowns, 4 passing touchdowns among those 5, and his rushing touchdown was a 60-plus yard rush.
No, did you see the run?
I saw the run.
It was pretty ridiculous. He caught the edge, and it was like, oh, even the safety and DB aren't catching him. And it was like, I didn't realize Manning's had speed.
I mean, he's Cooper's son. Cooper was the wide receiver.
Cooper was the athletic one out of the 3.
Yeah.
But, yeah, kind of wild. Congrats on the start. Because of this, he performed so well. He went from not even listed on the Heisman odds to being 8th favorited now after 1 game to win the Heisman. It's kind of wild.
So ridiculous.
It is wild, isn't it? But yeah, good on Arch Manning. Seems like Steve Sarkisian has a good backup quarterback there in Texas.
Shocker. So yeah, back to Ewers' injury status. He has been ruled per ESPN week to week.
Yeah,
which means they're gonna evaluate him like on game day.
Yeah,
like are you ready to go or are you not? So Arch Manning could legitimately take the starting spot for a time.
But here's the question: is if Arch plays anything remotely close to the way he did against UTSA, Steve Sarkisian has a reason to say, do you stay with the hot hand or do you go back to the guy who got you to the college football playoff last year? It is a good problem to have.
Yeah.
But then also you got to weigh the, for lack of better words, the dynamics within a locker room, I suppose. Because Arch agreed to basically sit behind him for another year. So I had to say at Texas. So if Ewers is healthy, do you give it back to Ewers or do you stay with Manning?
I mean,
you're
Coach asking me if I'm Coach Stark?
Yeah, you're Coach Stark. You got to make that call.
I'm Coach Tony Stark.
Yeah, Tony Stark.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like Arch Manning's the type of kid who's like, no. Like, give him the job back once he's healed. And so, I don't know. I feel like once he's, no matter how well Arch Manning plays, once Ewers is good to go, I think he's gonna play.
I gotcha. Are we gonna see another situation where it's a Tua Jalen Hurts situation, where he doesn't get the ball to the national championship?
No, I don't. Texas looks like they could go to the national championship, though. I'm not gonna lie. They look pretty good.
Look very good. Haven't really been tested yet, but they could.
They look pretty good.
I don't think Michigan's a good test, but
not really. But
here we are.
Let's move on to the other bit of news, and that was this dropped
midweek.
Dropped early. Was it midweek?
About midweek.
And that is realignment.
Oh.
The Pac-2 is becoming the 6-pack.
It is. I like that.
When Boise State, Colorado State, San Diego State, and Fresno State, all the state schools, are joining the Pac-12 from the Mountain West. This news came just 10 days after it was announced that the Pac-12 and the Mountain West failed to reach a scheduling agreement for 2025, which a lot of people looked as a very bad sign. I think potentially what that was is that 4 schools knew that they were like, well, this schedule's not going to hold up. So the Pac-12 is using the $200 million war chest that they got from all the other schools leaving to pay for the exit fees of the schools.
Okay.
Which is expected to be, the exit fee is expected to be around $18 million plus $43 million for a poaching fee. So they're paying a lot of money to get these schools, but they have the money and they need it to rebuild the conference.
To be fair, out of the 4 schools that they got from the Mountain West, you could argue top 4 football schools overall, right? The only one that they're missing out on is recency is UNLV, I guess, for this year. But, I mean, like, Boise State historically very good. Yeah. Fresno State very good. Colorado State very good. Maybe San Diego State not so much.
I would replace San Diego State and Colorado State. Historically, Colorado State's not that good at
Right.
football, but San Diego State's they're a fine program.
Right.
They've been on a little bit of a downslope.
Gotcha. So they got probably 4 of the top schools from the Mountain West.
Yeah,
And they need, I believe, 2 more to make an official conference. They need
Yes.
8. There is a rumor, though, that they are also trying to get Cal and Stanford to come
That's
back
not happening.
and join the Pac-12.
That's not happening.
I'm just saying that is a thought, that they're a rumor that is going on.
They can't afford it. I'm here to tell you right now.
Because that'd be more realignment.
I'm here to tell you right now. That just simply is not happening.
Okay.
If Florida State and Clemson can't buy out, neither can Cal and Stanford. Especially when Cal and Stanford are making half of what everyone else in the ACC is. Minus, of course, SMU, who's paying to be, paying to hang out with their big brothers. No, we're talking about this because this is the first substantive news about realignment in a long time. I think we both kind of got burnt out about realignment because there's so many rumors and people just make stuff up just to get people to click on their videos and stuff. But according to Brandon Marcello of CBS Sports, who was the first to report about this, so he seems to have an inside scoop. The next move for the Pac-12 is to target teams in the American. Either the Texas teams.
That would make a little sense.
Or Tulane or Memphis, which I don't like those. I don't want Tulane or Memphis to go to the Pac-12 just because it's...
Logistically, it doesn't make sense.
It's annoying.
Yeah, it's it's the fact that Louisville's going out to play Stanford here shortly.
Yeah.
It's the idea of conferences being regionally based is definitely gone. Yeah. Far gone in college sports.
And
but
the Pac-12 has the ability to hold on to that just a little bit.
I feel like conferences, in a way, it used to be you would go get markets within your area.
That's exactly what it used to be.
And all right, so Big East, we need New York, we need Boston, we need North New York, and then you go on down the line to West Virginia and all that, so on and so forth. Now it's just oh, this team's very good, they have a big market, let's go get them.
Or they have a big brand.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see how it is. They also floated around the idea of adding UNLV and Air Force if the American teams don't work out, which that would be interesting because if that's the case, then that would take the Mountain West from 8 schools, which is what they're at right now, to 6 schools.
And then
the Mountain West needs to add 2 more schools.
Right. Do you think there's any possibility where they add those 2 schools and then the Mountain West survives by adding
FCS schools?
FCS powerhouses.
Yes.
Yep. Could they go get a couple
Montana State.
Or Dakotas?
Maybe the Dakotas, maybe Idaho.
Right.
Northern,
because they're
NAU.
It's a weird thing if you think about it. FCS schools, the most dominant ones, are located north. They are in that northern echelon of the country, kind of close to the Mountain West.
Yeah, I mean it's
that.
Geographically, it would work out for the Mountain.
I mean, it's not the Midwest. What would you call that? It's
Great Plains.
Yeah, I'm sure. Those northern Great Plains areas seems to be
where the Dakotas are the Midwest.
Sort of. I mean,
they are the Midwest.
Borderline in a way, but we're not going to get into a geography argument.
No, they are the Midwest.
Yeah, but I was trying to find a way to include Montana into it and Idaho and stuff, and I'm kind of reaching there by saying
just
Idaho.
say flyover states. That's for the people on the coast.
Right, but that's 90% of the nation.
Yeah, I mean we live in a flyover state.
I know we do. Right, but I think that could be something that could be at play if they wanted to go get Air Force and UNLV.
Yeah, I just don't want them to add Memphis or Tulane.
Yeah,
because it's just this whole thing it's annoying how geographics have been thrown just completely out the window.
Yeah,
I don't want to see that happen.
Yeah, where Syracuse is having to play Cal or
Cal is literally going to Tallahassee this coming weekend.
Yeah.
A 3-0 Cal team versus an 0-3 Florida State team.
Who would have thunk?
Not me.
All right.
Next up, the news. The news keeps rolling on. We've got U.S. lawmakers unveil a bill banning in-game sports betting and also
ads. In-game sports betting ads.
In-game sports betting ads.
And bets on college athletes. So basically, this is at stake. Basically, getting rid of all the BetMGM that you see watching Sunday Night Football and FanDuel and DraftKings and all that stuff. Banning those ads. And then also the key part that we're going to talk about is banning like player props in college sports. You can still bet the team to win, you can bet the team to lose, but you can't bet Ashton Genty to run for 150 yards or more.
Yeah.
Do something like that to where basically limit the control stakes of basically taking the rigging, I guess, out of hands, in a way. I don't know how to phrase this properly.
It limits the potential impropriety.
Yes.
Of what could happen in a game.
Are we for this bill? Are we against this bill? Do we care about this bill?
I think I'm for it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you can't they outlawed ads for cigarettes.
Yeah.
In alcohol commercials, no one is allowed to drink alcohol.
Mm.
And so, which I don't know if you've ever noticed that.
I have not.
No one ever drinks alcohol in alcohol ads.
Okay.
The closest they'll ever do is get close, start to drink, and then they'll cut away.
I gotcha.
Bud Light, perfect beer to drink in the shower or whatever.
All right. But
So no, I have no problem with this.
Okay. Yeah, definitely will take away the prop betting for college athletes, which I think is obviously good. Last thing you want is someone point shaving themselves especially in basketball.
Which
or something
that
like
has
that.
we've already seen that in college.
We've seen that in college, and we've also seen it in the NBA as well.
Oh yeah, that guy.
That one guy.
What is that? Dante
Porter? It was a Porter. It was
Dante Porter, I think.
I'm not sure about his first name, but Michael Porter Jr.'s brother.
Oh, I didn't know
yeah. Center for the Raptors.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I mean, I don't know. I don't have anything to add to this except I think it's a good idea.
Right.
We'll see. It's going to take a while to see if it'll get passed because Republicans and Democrats don't agree on anything.
Yep.
So, yeah. Next up, Georgia had another player arrested for driving 106 miles per hour.
Ooh.
What's new here?
It is very funny. I was telling Derek this off camera, but I saw a video where it was someone frolicking down the streets of Athens, Georgia, saying, "I can now walk the streets freely because there's no reckless drivers on the road." And the caption said, "It's because Georgia has an away game this week," or something to that effect. It's very funny.
Yeah, it's not wrong though, unfortunately.
But it's just another case. At what point if you're Kirby Smart, do you do anything about this?
I think that's the whole appeal of Georgia is that
you
you
get to
can
drive
come
fast
here.
car?
You can come here and you're pretty much above the law.
Yeah.
Maybe don't speed or drive drunk, but you're pretty above the law right now. I feel like maybe if anything, this acts as an ad for Georgia. Hey, come here and you get to drive more than double the speed limit, and no one's gonna do anything.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. In a way, it is just it's very, very, very disappointing to see because it's not like the same person's doing it, but it's definitely repeat offenders within Athens, Georgia.
Well, the fact that it's the same. It's pretty much everyone on the team shows that it's a cultural issue.
Yeah.
At that point. Next, Sharon Moore gets a full contract. I don't know what that means.
So he basically
you've got this story.
So I will explain it. So basically the two sides agreed to the structure, like the framework of a contract in January. Basically the two were playing limbo with each other because Sharon Moore obviously wants to have a contract and wants to get paid. He was coaching the first two games under Texas and whoever they played week 1, where
Fresno State.
He was not technically under contract. He was coaching a team while not technically being under contract because because of all the allegations going on with Michigan right now, Michigan doesn't want to be stuck with paying the bill if something comes down on Sharon Moore for all the sign stealing stuff.
Yeah.
And then Sharon Moore obviously wants to have a contract to coach the team.
He wants to get paid to do his job.
Well, it is weird because the base salary, like, what do you think a usual salary is for a level of Michigan? It's like what, $4 or $5 million a year
For a starting coach, sure.
Yeah, he is getting paid for a base salary. He's getting $500,000. But then he's getting an additional $5 million in compensation for year one. I don't know exactly what that means, but his base salary is $500,000.
That probably means like a bonus.
Right. And then it increases by 2% each year, and then he's going to receive $3.5 million in bonuses for winning conference championships. So his whole salary is incentive based. He's getting $500,000 flat, increases 2% each year.
He's getting screwed on that contract.
Well, basically, the whole idea is that because I think he knows and Michigan know that something's going to come down on him eventually. They know that they're probably going to have to hire a new coach here within time, and they don't want to be stuck with that contract.
I don't know if they will have to hire a new coach. I think they might have to bring in an interim, but I don't know.
So he is
unless the NCAA bans someone from the sport. I don't think you can just go out there and be like, you have to hire a new coach.
So his buyout is $5 million and decreases $1 million each year down to $1 million in his final year of his contract. So he is really not getting a good deal. He is truly coaching Michigan because he loves to coach Michigan, it sounds like. Yeah. $500,000 a year. His bonus for winning the national championship is going to be $1 million. So if he wins the whole thing, he'll get $1.5 million on the year.
That's not.
It's not a great deal. Definitely shout out to Michigan.
No, screw Michigan.
AD for getting this contract done, but he definitely got screwed over in this deal. But I think he knows that. One, it's like, what other school's going to hire him with all the allegations going on? And two, what is at stake here for? Because it's officially got finalized last week, basically 4 days ago.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's getting screwed.
He kind of.
I wish he weren't getting screwed. All right.
Mm-hmm.
I just realized that's crooked. Let's see if we can edit around this.
Okay. Or just leave it, and then I can fix it post. All right.
All right, I guess we're back.
I guess so.
We'll see. We'll see if I fixed that or not. I don't think I did.
Leave it.
Okay, it's whatever. This episode's going to be crooked. We're shooting at a Dutch angle. It's fine. All right, I guess now the only thing we've got left is the pick'ems.
Yep.
So we'll get through the pick'ems, and then we'll that's it. I don't know. I don't know what I was leaning towards. There's nothing else.
That's all we got.
That's all we've got. All right, starting with what is now a ranked matchup: Illinois versus Nebraska.
Really, both of them are ranked.
Both of them are ranked. We haven't done our poll yet, so
No.
I don't know if Nebraska's going to be ranked in our poll.
Mm-hmm.
But in the AP poll, this is a ranked unranked matchup.
Huh.
It's at Nebraska. Who you got?
I'm going to go with Patrick Mahomes. Give me Dylan Raiola. Have you seen the mannerisms and how he acts exactly like Patrick Mahomes?
And it looks like him.
Yeah. Down to a T between the hair and the beard and everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going with Nebraska here. I think they're a pretty decent team.
All right. I'm going to go with Illinois.
It's not a bad pick.
I mean, Illinois got a tough defense.
They do.
Luke Altmaier is solid.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going with Illinois. Next up, NC State versus Clemson. This was supposed to be
one of the top ACC matchups preseason.
Yeah, and then now it's maybe not.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Clemson.
I'm going with Clemson, too. I just don't think NC State's that good. Nor do I think Clemson is, and they're a slow-dying ship, as we've repeated week in and week out, but I still think Clemson's better than NC State this year.
Yeah. Next up, this is a fun one.
Is it?
No, it's not basketball. This is football. We've got Villanova versus Maryland.
Why is Villanova in our pick'ems for football?
Villanova is the number 4 ranked FCS team.
Give me Maryland. No, Villanova's not good at football.
Give me Villanova. Why not?
It doesn't make sense.
Villanova made the playoffs last year. They're number 4 in the country in the FCS.
Okay, and
I'm just saying it happens.
I hear you.
All right, next up we have Virginia versus Coastal Carolina. Shockingly, this is a matchup that features 0 losses combined between these two teams.
They're 6-0 or 5-0.
They're either 5-0 or 6-0. I think 6-0.
I don't know if any of them had a bye.
This is, crazy.
Give me Coastal Carolina.
Give me Virginia.
Really?
Yeah. This is. I can't believe that both of these teams are undefeated so far.
Yeah. What?
Yeah.
Virginia's 3-0. Coastal Carolina, sure, I can see that. Even without a Grayson McCall, who's at a crappy NC State right now.
He's part of the reason why they're not that good.
Yeah, and he was really good at Coastal Carolina.
For 3 years, not last year.
Fair enough.
All right, next up we have USC versus Michigan.
You know who I'm going with.
Yep, you're going with Michigan, and I'm going to pick USC.
Yeah, and I'm going with USC as well.
Oh, you decided to flip your pick. You wanted to be like me.
I did not flip nothing.
It's a double negative.
I've been on this train for a while.
All right. Next up, we have Georgia Tech versus Louisville. This could have been a ranked-on-ranked matchup if Georgia Tech didn't wet the bed against Syracuse.
Yeah.
But it is not. So, instead, it's going to be ranked versus unranked.
Yeah.
I'm going to take Louisville in a very close game.
Yeah. I don't know. Georgia Tech's defense didn't look great against Syracuse.
No. And I think, in hindsight, the fact that they gave up 21 points against Florida State, not 21 points in the sense that they gave up 3 touchdowns, because they gave up more scores than that. I don't know. Their defense played fine against Florida State. I just think Florida State had terrible offense.
But also playing devil's advocate here, Louisville really hasn't been tested yet. They played a weak Austin Peay, and then who basically didn't have coaches, it sounded like, and then they also played a Jacksonville State team that's not that good this year, and then they came off a bye week. They do have an extra week to prepare for this game. I'm still going to go Louisville, but Georgia Tech has been tested already and has proven that they're a good team, whereas Louisville hasn't really done that. They've blown out teams that they're supposed to blow out, but they haven't really faced a, quote, true matchup.
Yeah, and this is going to be a game that Georgia Tech gets up for.
Yep.
It's a ranked opponent. Bryn Key is great at that. Next up, we have Arkansas versus Auburn.
Oh, this is like 2 bad teams is what it is. Can Auburn throw the ball is the question.
They are starting a freshman at quarterback.
No, so they did make the change.
Who they started against New Mexico.
No, so it's not the Michigan State guy.
No, not Peyton Thorne.
Okay, yeah. I guess give me Auburn. I don't really know too much about either of these schools. They're not really on my radar.
I'm going to take Arkansas.
Yeah?
Yeah. I just think that, I don't know, I feel like this is a game that Auburn's not really going to get that up for.
Yeah, I could see that.
And then I think Arkansas is going to jump on them early.
Could be. It's just, this is like the bottom of the barrel of a good SEC, you know? It feels like.
I'm starting to think outside of the top teams, the SEC is not very good.
Well, the top teams is like, there's like 5 teams in the top 10. So it's like a really, really good SEC, and then there's a massive drop-off.
A massive drop-off,
yeah,
in my opinion. But next up, we have Rutgers versus Virginia Tech. This is an interesting one. This was supposed to be undefeated versus undefeated, but Virginia Tech just has that awful loss against Vanderbilt, who lost against Georgia State this week.
Ooh.
So, and Georgia State, I'm telling you, they're not going to be good this year. So that's a terrible loss for Vandy. They might have just been exposed.
Then what does that say about Virginia Tech?
I think it says some bad things about Virginia Tech. I'm going to go with Rutgers in this one. I think Rutgers, I don't think has a very good offense, but they have a very, very solid identity.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Rutgers in this one too. Not very high on either of these teams, same as the last pick, but I guess give me Rutgers because I don't know what's going on with Virginia Tech right now.
Let me just key you into something right now with Rutgers. Their schedule is so easy.
Really?
It's so easy. They avoided pretty much everyone in the Big Ten. They have the easiest schedule. don't be surprised if they're like 9-3 at the end of the year.
Really? So they avoided like the USCs, the Ohio States, the Penn States, and the Oregons?
They avoided a lot of them.
Okay.
But it's a very, very easy schedule for them.
I think you should skip the next one.
Yeah, that'll be game of the week. All right, next up we have the red bandana game, Michigan State versus Boston College.
Boston College.
I'm going to take Boston College too.
We're both kind of high on Boston College this year. Michigan State, who knows what they are this year?
I mean, they're 3-0.
True, but
here's what I think about Michigan State. I think they have a good
play?
coach. I think they have a young roster, but a roster that is not ready.
And
so I think they're going to hang in some games.
I mean, they just beat a Maryland.
Yeah, I think they're going to win some games that maybe they weren't expected to, like Maryland. But I don't against some of the better teams, which they've got a
slate.
They got a rough slate.
Oh man.
I think it's going to be tough sledding. So against Boston College, at Boston College for the red bandana game, I don't think they stand.
I mean, they may not win another game till end of November.
No, they could beat Iowa. I don't think Iowa's very good.
Fair enough. All right.
Next up we have Baylor versus Colorado.
Two teams that aren't that good, in my opinion.
2-1.
Yeah.
Both of them are 2-1.
True.
I'm going to take Baylor in this one.
I'm going to go Colorado. I'm not high on Colorado, but yeah, just Baylor last year definitely crapped the bed. And
to me, what's interesting about Colorado is their offense doesn't look as explosive as it did a year ago.
Well, I mean, what I saw in the Nebraska game is Nebraska basically challenged them to run the ball, and they refused to do it.
Yeah.
Nebraska basically was like, okay, you want to air out the ball, air it out. And we're gonna sit 6 DBs deep, and we're gonna force you to run the ball. And they still didn't do it. And I don't know if that's Colorado's mentality this year, where they want to be an air raid offense, or if it's more so the fact of that Dion wants to boost his son's stats.
It doesn't mean it can't be both.
Yeah,
but
I don't know if it's a coaching decision or if it's rather than the betterment of the team, it's the betterment of a certain player.
I don't know. But I'm going to go with Baylor.
All right.
Go with Colorado. We have a lot of dissent this week. We have a lot of differing opinions.
It's not very big difference. I mean, like, I just went Colorado.
Yeah, no, it's a knife's edge, and we're just falling on different edges.
Yeah.
So, all right, penultimate pick, we've got Tennessee versus Oklahoma. Oklahoma's first ever SEC game as an SEC school.
How about that?
At Oklahoma. I think this environment is going to be crazy.
I think it will be too.
But I think, oh my God, Tennessee. Oh my God, Tennessee might be one of the best teams in the country. Tennessee might be the best team in the country. Tennessee's so good.
Tennessee's very good.
They're so good this year.
I mean,
it's crazy.
But then the other argument could be made is that
they've played nobody.
They've played nobody. And
Kent State is one of the worst teams in FBS, if not the worst team in FBS.
Mm-hmm.
NC State looks like, I think NC State sucks. I think we can pretty confidently say that, even though they're 2-1.
I mean, the only thing to really go off of for Oklahoma is they barely beat a really bad Houston team. Barely beat them. And that is the only thing that we can really gauge it off of. I mean, sure, they played Tulane, but they were close in that. Whereas, like, now they got the dogs coming up. They got Tennessee, and then in 2 weeks, or 3 weeks, I should say, they got Texas after that. And, I mean, the SEC is going to hit them. I got Tennessee, too. I think me and you are in a very similar boat here where we think Tennessee is a very good team.
Yeah. And still, in all honesty, I don't think Tennessee is going to be tested that much. Unless the environment really, truly does play a factor, which it could. It's going to be, I think, a great environment. But, I mean, I don't know, Tennessee.
They got Georgia and, like, Alabama. That's about it this year. They got this, and then they avoid everybody, in my opinion. They avoid Ole Miss. They avoid Texas.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they have Georgia and they have Alabama. Yeah, Tennessee could be on the run for a great year this year.
Yeah. All right, and then finally, what is our game of the week? Maybe the game of the year for the Big 12. That is Utah versus Oklahoma State.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think this all depends on one person.
Who's that one person?
That'd be Cam Rising.
Yep, I'm with you on that.
If he is healthy, this is a completely different game. He did not play against Utah State.
Okay.
He had an injured hand. The Utah has said that there's no broken bones in his hand.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, he's the game breaker. He's the X factor.
He is. I'm going to go with Utah regardless of it because I still think Utah is going to be the better team out of this. Oklahoma went into overtime against Arkansas where it was down big
Yeah.
at the beginning of that game and clawed back and won. Kudos to them, but it's also like, why is Arkansas playing close to you?
Yeah, I'm also going to go with Utah. I'm just going to assume Cam Rising is healthy.
Yeah, I think that's an assumption you have to do, and I think as big as this game is for the Big 12, because this, in a way, has playoff at stake here.
Absolutely, yes.
It's not like with the Big 12 they're going to be getting a 2 bid. It's going to be probably a 1 bid.
Unfortunately.
They're going to be one of the top 4 seeds, and that's just how it's going to be.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I got Utah.
All right, those are our picks.
Yeah.
That's our episode. Hope you liked it if you stuck around this far. Hope you hit the like button if you liked it. Hope you subscribe if you are interested, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're this far, you're probably interested.
Yeah. Thanks for watching.
All right.
See you in the next one.
See you.